What's good, good people? This your boy, Mr. Timothy D. Hall, and I'm coming back live with a little bit of words of wisdom. Now, so what I want to talk about today is understanding, not only understanding spiritual gifts, but understanding that you have to master spiritual gifts. So, what do I mean with that? Like, there's a lot of spiritual gifts that we have, or that are, just out here in the atmosphere, that God would bless onto people. I didn't realize this because we use words like love, wisdom, empathy, and all these other different type of things. I always thought that everybody had the capacity to do this. This is why I'm like, when I see people who are completely disregarding another person, like, they're just talking down on somebody, or, they just don't understand. It's like, how do you not understand how, what you're saying will make a person feel? You know what I mean? Like, it's like you are the authority figure over this individual, or you are whatever, and you talking down to somebody. Like, do you not understand how that's going to make that individual feel? And to a certain degree, the other person, the person that is the aggressor, or the one that's like talking down, and you can tell the difference between when somebody's trying to give corrective instructions in comparison to someone who's trying to tear somebody down. You can really tell the difference between the two, you know what I mean, if you got discernment. But in general, it's like, how could people not? And a lot of times people do, to a certain degree, understand, but it's more so they understand from their perspective. They're talking down on somebody because it makes them feel good. They have a lack of empathy. They have no empathy whatsoever. In other words, they don't understand how that other person could potentially feel. A lot of people don't even understand the importance of empathy. People see empathy as a weakness, when in actuality it's a great strength. Because when you got empathy, not only can you understand what somebody else is going through, you can build better relationships with that. And not only that, you can begin to realize who people are behind the mask. People forget that aspect of it. It's almost like a superpower to have some type of, be empathetic in a lot of ways. And empathy is a spirit of, it's a trait of God. Because when you have empathy and you can understand how somebody feels, people can trick you with the mask. You know what I mean? Whatever they're showing you, the actions, but they can't hide their energy. They can't hide how they truly feel. You understand what I'm saying? So that's where empathy is a superpower, because you can cut right through people's facades and see the true person, which is the spirit that they have behind them, the true feelings, the true. And so now, as a result, you know how to step in the world. You know how to move around. You know what I mean? You know how to lead. You know how to do all these different type of things. But a lot of people, they don't understand that. That's a spiritual. That's a spiritual gift. Love is a spiritual gift. I thought people actually truly have love, because everybody out here say, "Oh yeah, I love you, I love you, I love you." A lot of people, they don't know what the first concept of love is. A lot of people, they think that love is a feeling. This is what this world has conditioned people to believe, that love is a feeling. That is, you know what I mean? But people don't understand that feelings are temporary. Feelings are like a mosaic. It's like, if you ever think about like the ocean is like the waves. You have the tides. They go up and down, up and down, up and down. Your feelings are, they can be triggered or stimulated by any doggone thing. So this feeling of love or feeling of happiness is something that they try to project onto people, and this is why a lot of people are very unhappy, because they're like, I don't feel happy. It's because that's not a feeling of happiness. Is not stationary. You know what I mean? But you should be feeling contentment. That's the difference. You shouldn't be out here trying to be feel happy. You're trying to feel contentment. The feeling of love. God is the only one that can really truly give you love. So if you disconnected from God, it's like a lot of people that can never give you love. So if you like connected to somebody and they say, "Oh yeah, I love you, I love you, I love you," they might have love to a certain degree, but it's like there's no way in the world that a person can truly show you love if they're not connected to God. It's just point blank period. There's no way in the world. You know what I mean? God is love. So if you're not connected to God, there's nothing there. You know what I mean? So that's, but, and so with that being said, even love in of itself is like, it's a, again, it's a spiritual gift. It's a powerful thing. A lot of times love can be used against you. Narcissistic people, what they would do is they can see somebody with this trait of love and they'll use it against the individual. It's a very, very powerful thing. It's very, very powerful. You know what I mean? In the sense that somebody could be harming. If a narcissistic person sees a person that loves them a lot, they will harm that person like crazy, and they will keep on stabbing, 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 stabbing. And the reason why they do that with the person that really loves them is because they understand that, again, it's the power of love, the strength. Most people to let that person go a long time ago, but when you truly love somebody, you're gonna stay with them with the good and the bad. But that's what a narcissistic or person that wants to abuse or something. That's why they pick a person that has all that love and da 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 da. It's a strong thing. It's strength. There's a lot of strength in that, you know. But love, just like empathy, if it's used in the wrong way, you got to build your spiritual muscles. You got to build these things. You're not going to become a master at it. What else? Kindness is another one. People, it like I like to make people happy. I like seeing people kind. But again, if you don't um if you don't know the balance, then you can get yourself messed over. You know what I mean? And people, they'll take your kindness for weakness. You know what I mean? But kindness is another like thing that comes directly from God. It's a spiritual gift that is given onto people, is to be kind. You know, a lot of times, people, they never experience kindness. So when they actually experience kindness, it's like you can make a person's day, week, year, month. I'm talking about years later, people will come back and they'll be remember the day that one person was kind to them. It could have been you. You was kind to one person. You did it in passing. You helped that person picked up, and you changed that person. You'll be surprised. You'll change a person's whole life with one interaction, one small kind interaction. That's how low kindness is out here, or the genuine kindness, or whatever the case may be. You know, but a lot of these, it's a whole bunch of other. Wisdom is another one. I always thought that people had wisdom. Like when I was young, I was blessed when I was young because I had the wisdom to understand like what was going on and how things were moving and stuff like that. And with me having that wisdom, I was always looking at people. It's like I can't for the life of me understand why people don't see like what's gonna happen. Like I used to see dudes in school who was out on the streets, and it's never not to judge people, but it's like, why don't these dudes see where they go, like their life gonna end up if they go out in them streets? Them, they chasing this and this and this. It's like the dudes that's like they hanging out with and they trying to get with. You can see that these dudes are snakes, and they'll snake them at the verse. You know what I mean? It's like I can see that already. Like that's what's like. I'm not gonna go down that path, or I can see that these girls. I'm like, most of these girls, they're not gonna be there for the long haul. Why would I sit there and play into any, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, why would I do that to myself, knowing doggone well that these girls not gonna be there? But you see some dudes, they give their whole life for that doggone girl that they meet in high school, or the money, or the clothes, the car. The clothes was the big one. I was like, I do not get these people with these doggone clothes and this money and stuff. It's like, it's so doggone superficial, but they'll judge other people for not having it. And it's like, do you not realize tomorrow you can be swiped, one little interaction, one thing can happen, and all that stuff that you build your confidence on, that you build and that you judge other people on with that superficial mess, with the clothes and the money. And don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing to have it, but it's like you put so much stock into it. Do you understand that tomorrow something can happen and all that is gone, and then who are you after that? You know what I mean? But you treat people a certain type of way, and it's like I had the wisdom to understand that, and I realized that people don't have that wisdom to understand that. And wisdom, and the beginning of wisdom starts at fearing God. If you don't fear God, you don't have any wisdom. So that's why a lot of people, they don't fear God. They think that God is fake. Even if they say that they fear God, they really don't. Or they just got a whole bunch of other guys before the true God. And so the Bible says that the people who don't have wisdom, who don't fear God, are foolish people. They're very, very foolish. And a lot of people are very foolish. It's not to be disrespectful to them, but they're very foolish, and they make foolish mistakes. And they're like, and it's like, how did you know how to do this, this, and this, and this? And it's like, the reason how, it's like God gave me that wisdom, but a lot of people, they don't fear God. They think that God is fake. They think that, to whatever degree, They just think that it's not real. But in general, all these different type of things, these spiritual gifts, they are a blessing, and sometimes they can be a curse, in the sense that if you don't know how, you got to understand how to build up these spiritual gifts, in the sense that the world is the complete opposite of God. So the world sees all these spiritual gifts as a negative thing. So people will come at you understanding that you got these spiritual gifts, meaning like the kindness, the love, the wisdom, the empathy, the People will try to use it and exploit it and use it against you if you're not careful. You know what I mean? Very narcissistic people. The narcissist is like the very opposite. The devil is literally the king of narcissism. So the devil is literally the very opposite of God. You know what I mean? But when Jesus came down to this earth, Jesus was like a prime example of how you're supposed to live and move and stuff. That's why Jesus is so important. You know what I mean? And he's considered to be the savior, because he literally, not only did he give you like a bridge between you and God, but he cleansed all the sins. He's like the ultimate scapegoat, almost. Not almost, he was like the ultimate scapegoat to a certain degree. Like he, gave up himself, for people. But in the same vein, he showed you a guideline on how to live on this earth, because, people on this earth, they will automatically reject you if you are exhibiting those spiritual gifts, because this earth is the domain of the devil. This is why we always see that the good is bad on this earth and the bad is good. You know what I mean? It's completely backwards. It's backwards. You know what I mean? People, they live out of ego. So people, they're fake inside. I mean, they're very fake. It's not to be disrespectful, but a lot of people are very fake. It's not even necessarily trying to say like these people are trying to be fake, but it's like if you grew up in fake scenarios, fake households, and fake you ultimately are going to be fake too, more than likely. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be fake too. So it's like inevitable that you can't really get away from that. So a lot of people are, they are fake. You know what I mean? And that's the devil. The devil's the king of ego. He operates out of ego, but the ego is fake. It's fakeness. It's plastic. It's only superficial. You know what I mean? So, but in general, when people see that you have these spiritual gifts and things of that nature, a lot of times people, they're gonna think of it's crazy. Some people, they see it as a threat, and other people, they see it as weakness. It's like crazy, but this is the mindset of people who live on this earth. This earth is just completely different from what it's supposed to be. And so if you're a type of person where you're trying to move forward, sometimes you can get discouraged with these spiritual gifts, because I got discouraged because one of the biggest things that I had got discouraged with is that of the kindness aspect of it. I grew up in a real rough area, and I didn't understand it, why people were coming at me in a certain type of way. And I didn't realize that just the way that I was thinking, again, this world is completely opposite of that of God. And it's like God really blessed me at a young age to understand it from his perspective. So you go out here and you working and you operating from the perspective, like how God would look at things in terms of like kindness and Your mindset is on one side, and everybody else's mindset is on the other side. So, the things, again, this world is, everything is good is bad, and everything bad is good. So in the world, people see kindness as a weakness. They see it as a weak thing. And I didn't realize this growing up. And I just, it's just till recently that I really realized that like people, their mind, they really do believe that when you be in a certain type of way, that means you're operating from a space of weakness. And I didn't get that, you know what I mean? And now, now I get it now, and now I had to pull out the spiritual thug, because, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Okay, no, I got to pull out the spiritual thug a lot of times. It's because people will try you, they'll try you. And I couldn't understand it for the life of me, why people were trying to try me when I was younger. And I thought it was something wrong with me. And I realized when I got older, nothing was ever wrong with me. It's like, okay, now I realize that you're on this earth. This earth is a certain type of way. You know what I mean? But my kindness was getting me in trouble, because, I would, I just I don't know, I don't know how else to say it, but you just be kind to people. And, but their mindset is, a lot of times, this is what I realized too, when I got older, is that when people see you and stuff like that, they already have a certain way of how they think about how life goes and stuff like that. Like they've been bred up, and they've been groomed, and they've been whatever, a certain type of way. Their family was a certain type of way, so they a certain type of way. You know what I mean? And so they're on this earth, and they're people of this earth. So their mindset is a certain type of way. Typically, it's going to be the perspective of the devil. It's not to be disrespectful, but that's typically what it's going to be if people are of this world. They're going to have a carnal mind. And so because they have the carnal mind and everything like that, they see things in a certain type of way. And so all the actions that they take, they project it. We often project what we are onto other people, and projection is just simply whoever you are, you think that everybody else is that very same person. Like, for example, if I always get this example on the streets, like back in the day when he's in the hood and everything like that, when people on the streets, they move a certain type of way. So if you come into somebody on the street and you move in a certain type of way, they gonna think that you the cops. They gonna think that you the ops. They think that you something. They think that you because the way that you move, you could be moving in a way that looks like you're trying to harm them. It looks like you're trying to set them up. You could literally just be from another country and you don't know what's going on, but the way that you move, it looks like a certain type of way. And so because of that way, the reason people won't trust you, they won't mess with you, you know what I mean? You'd be like, what's going on? The reason being is because you don't realize that you act in a certain type of way. When you're moving, people think that you are coming at them in a negative way, because the way that you are moving, they would do the exact same thing if they were, moving, if they were trying to rob, or if they was on some dirt, they will move a certain type of way, the way that you move. And you don't even realize that's what you're doing, Or in relationship, you always got the example of somebody's always accusing you of cheating. A lot of times they're accusing you of cheating because they know that they cheating. So they think that you cheating because they cheat. And they's like, I know I'm moving a certain type of way. So obviously everybody's doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. So I need to go check this person and make sure that they need to know that they need not to be cheating because I'm cheating on them. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where you project who you are onto other people, And so with that being said, when you're being kind and stuff like that, or using your spiritual gifts, people, when they see you use those gifts, what a lot of times what they think is when they're using those very same gifts, because remind you again, the earth is backwards. What's good is bad and what's bad is good is backwards. So when they're using kindness, they know they're operating from a place of weakness. You know what I mean? They're scared at that time. I realize that people, they use kindness when they're afraid of you. It's submissive. They use it in a submissive position. When they feel like somebody is better than them, or they feel like somebody is tougher, or whatever case, they, as a way to protect themselves, will be kind. You know what I mean? So it's not operating from a place of strength. It's operating from a place of weakness. Or they try to be kind in a way where they're trying to dupe somebody, or you know what I mean, like they're trying to like trick somebody, so they'll be kind. You know what I mean? And so they might also think that when you're being kind, and again, this is where they think that when you're doing something, that it's a negative thing, because they know when they doing it, it's a negative thing. So like when you being kind, they think, okay, this person's trying to get up over on me. What does this person want from me? What because they think from their perspective, when I'm being kind, I'm trying to get over on somebody. Or again, like I said before, when you being kind, some people, when they're being kind, they're afraid, they're scared, because when they're not scared of somebody, or whatever the case may be, they loud, belligerent, they da 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 dee 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 da. They're the boldest person in the world. So they think it's from a place of weakness. You know what I mean? They think it's weakness, when in actuality it's nothing but. So you get tried, and it's like you got to get back. You got to get in the ring a couple of times. Like, man, a lot of times in my life, I had to get on the ring and start swinging on people, because it's like I don't understand what's wrong with these people. Why do they think I'm operating from a weak position? Da 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 da. The reason why is because that is just the earth. The earth is backwards. And I had to understand these things, and understand and understand that kindness. I have to understand how to use that kindness and who to use the kindness with. Some people you cannot be kind to. Other people you can be kind with. You know what I mean? Some people you got to use that spiritual thug and tell them like straight up, I'll smack you. You know what I mean? You got to get real good. You got to get real gangster with them, because it's like, you got to swing off on them, because it's like, it's some people that's just like that. They'll try you until you smack them. You smack them hard. You take a wrench and start swinging. And I don't mean to be too violent on this thing, but it's just like, it's some people like that. It's like they just don't get it through their head. It's the only thing that will get through their head is a doggone wrench. Sometimes it's just how some people are, and it's like that's where with them people, you just gotta use a spiritual thug on them people. You can't really be kind to these people, because it's like they don't understand that. They just can't digest it. You know what I mean? But with other people, you can be. You know what I mean? Other situations, you can be. Or sometimes forgiveness is another one. Some people think that you're stupid or you're naive or whatever the case may be, because you being forgiven or whatever the case may be. Again, it's very silly, because they understand when they're in that position and they're forgiving, it's they thinking like, oh man, when I forgave this person, they came back and they did da 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 da. Or when I forgave this person, man, they did it again. So they like, man, I am never gonna do it again. So they thinking every time you forgive them, oh, you an easy lick, you a mark, you a da 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 da. Not knowing that you giving people mercy, you forgiving people grace. Again, you're not God, but you're supposed to be like a representation of God on this earth. This is what Jesus was. You're supposed to give people chances to like get their stuff together. But until a lot of times people they'll take that for granted. They'll be like, again, they think that you're naive. They think that you're dumb. They think you da 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 da. It's like this person is whatever, But that's how their mind works on this earth. You know what I mean? It's like a scarcity mindset that a lot of people they operate from. They operate from that mindset on this earth. You give these people these chances, and they take them for granted until the day that they no longer have those chances. And the same thing happens like with God. A lot of times we take God for granted, and we take all these chances until the day that there's no longer no longer able to take. He's no longer giving out forgiveness and mercy to people. You know what I mean? And it's like with me, that it's like I had to cut off so many people, and it's like I'm gonna keep on chopping people off. Is because again, people they see you in a weak position because you use those godly traits, because this society and this the society, yes, but this world is completely backwards from what it's supposed to be. So people see all those traits that's actually representatives of strength and is representative of God. They see those as weakness. You know what I mean? And then a lot of times people, they be wondering like, why can I not move forward in life? Why can I not level up or go to the next stage in life? It's because of this mentality that people have. Their mentality is completely different. It's completely backwards from that. But the world will want you to believe that in order to achieve in life, you need to think just like with the egotistical type of mindset, that you need to operate in the same way that the devil would operate. You need to operate in that way in order to get it forward in life. And the only thing that you do is get a miserable life. You are unhappy, you bitter. Nobody really wants wants to come around you, like you ornery and all these other different type of things. You don't draw anything, and you repel because you got all this negative energy on you because of these traits that you thought were weak over here. You don't forgive people, you hold grudges, you do this, you do that. You know what I mean? You unkind to people, and then oftentimes, let's be real, you can be very foolish because again, a lot of times people can be very foolish. They, again, in the situation where you don't forgive, you take people's forgiveness for granted, or you find a person that's good to you, and a lot of times, and everybody's been guilty of this, where you'll run that person through a doggone ringer, thinking that person is always going to be there until the day that they no longer there, until the day that they never give you those opportunities again, and now you left out in the cold. It's the same thing. It's the same way with God a lot of times. You know what I mean? God gives you all these chances until the day that he doesn't give you no more chances. You know what I mean? Until the day it's too late. So yeah, but in general, I had to really learn how to use these spiritual gifts. And like the thing is, I would encourage people out there, is to not, and I know this says in the Bible somewhere. It says something to the degree of do not grow weary in your well doing, and what that means is, like, when you go out here, you're gonna get tired, you're gonna get tried. People gonna try you, and they're gonna try to test you and stuff like that. And it's like, sometimes you gotta use that, you gotta use humility. Humility is another big one. You know what I mean? But the thing is, with all these spiritual gifts, you gotta learn how to use them, and you learn how to master them. And nobody's perfect, and nobody has mastered them, of course. But when I'm saying master them, again, like, you can't be kind to everybody. And you can't always forgive, and that's hard to understand. When do I forgive and when do I not forgive? When do I? And the thing is, you always forgive. Here's the thing: you always forgive, but forgiveness does not mean that you just stay around somebody and let them just do whatever. You know what I mean? Like, forgiveness means is, I love you and I forgive you, and I'm letting you go forever, and I'm gonna walk away in this opposite direction. And I pray that you get everything together. You know what I mean? And hopefully I can see you on the other side. But it's like, that's what my forgiveness is for you. I'm not going to retaliate. I'm not going to give you da. I'm not upset with you. I'm not angry with you. I'm just done with you. And I forgive you, and you walk away in the other direction. And it's just like that. And it's like, that hurts people. It hurts people a lot. And it's not that you're trying to hurt people, but, it humbles people a lot of times. That's what humbles people. But that humility is a big one, because sometimes you're like a servant. Sometimes that humility, you are taking the advice of other people. And other people, they get in their ego very often. If you listen to the advice of someone that's older than you or whatever, or you just taking the advice and you actually listen to it, a lot of people that gets to their head as if you're a flunky, that you're dumb, or that you actually did what they said, that you are in some way, shape, or form inferior in comparison to them. That's what they would start thinking in their head. And sometimes you got to be humble enough to take their advice, and humble enough to understand that, that's what's going to come after it. Not everybody's like that, but it's understanding, being the humility. Sometimes you do have to serve other people. You don't have to always do it, but sometimes you do have to serve other people. Sometimes people gonna say something towards you, and you really want to say something back, but you got to be humble, because people will try you on purpose. You know what I mean? I always give an example of small people. You could imagine if you're a big 6'7" dude, and a small person will come up to you and say something to you that's disrespectful, and it could be a small dude, so the rules of hitting is open season. But you looking at this person, it's like, what, this person has the audacity that's like less than, this person's like 4'1", 20 pounds, and they had the nerve to come in. This is a grown man, by the way, but got the nerve to come up to you and start disrespecting you, and you this big dude. And it's like, what is wrong with this individual? A lot of times they're doing that to provoke you on purpose. You know what I mean? Those spirits inside of them are trying to provoke you on purpose. That's where humility comes in, because if you retaliate and you get into your ego, a lot of times what's going to happen is you're going to mess yourself over. And again, but that doesn't mean they're sitting there and just taking whatever this person is saying, but understand, it's like a basketball player or, a football player, how they're on the court and people will be heckling them and saying certain type of things. If you let it get to your head, you're going to miss the shots, and you're going to Oftentimes, oftentimes you see with those doggone games, those basketball players, those NBA players, those NFL players, and all those, they better not even say something. If they say a cuss word, they find them boys. They find them those crazy. There's like you say a cuss word to one person, that's $270,000 out your doggone check, boy. Say 2 cuss words. Can you imagine if you slap somebody? Oh my God. That's 2 years salary. What are you doing? That is insane. But you gotta humble yourself. Humility is a huge one because people will try to provoke you on purpose. A lot of people they want to they want to be seen by you. They want to transmute all that negative energy that they have onto you. You know what I mean? They just, they like trolls. They are like troll. They trolling you and stuff like that. That's why they call it trolling, because they low. They're very, very low. And so they're just trying to nip at anything that they can. And so when you walking around and you walking in ego, trolls are all over the place and they're going to be nipping. That's why humility is so important. But you got to understand when to use humility. Sometimes it's important to walk away. Other times it's important to bring out the spiritual thug and start swinging. You know what I mean? But you got to it's hard to figure that one out completely. Everybody's not that like that. You know, I think we talk about, we talk about love, the humility, the kindness, and all these other different things. These spiritual gifts in general. It doesn't matter what the spiritual gift is, that God is gifting you, or you're trying to navigate in this world about. Sometimes you got to understand that, like, you're not gonna get it perfect. Not sometimes. A lot of times, 99 times out of 100, you're not gonna get it perfect. But over time, you'll fine tune it. You'll mess up a lot. You know what I mean? You'll be at times where you were humble. You should have did this. At times that you're showing love, you should have did this. You should have been cold at this time. At this time when you forgave and brought back, you should have forgave and let people go. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, but in time, you have to, you'll get it in time. That's why it's important not to, get weary in your well doing. It's because a lot of times you're gonna get weary. It's like, why am I doing good to people? Why would I ever do good to people and people don't do nothing but give me their butt to kiss and give me their ass kiss? Why would I sit here and do good for people and they take advantage? Why would I sit here and do that? And the thing is, you cannot let that get to you. I mean, it's hard. It's very, very hard. Because it's like the devil, he gonna lay it on to you thick. He gonna lay on to you real, real thick. He gonna get it on because he sees that you're trying to advance forward in life and you're trying to get closer to God, whatever the case may be, and you're working on those spiritual gifts. And again, the spiritual gifts is like love, kindness, this, da, 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 da. And oftentimes when you're using those, God will give you, if you don't already know, your own personal gift. He will illuminate what your gift is, because everybody on this earth have gifts. It's just a matter of that people that want to cultivate that gift. They don't want to do what it takes to find out that gift and bring it up to light. They choose to just tear other people down to their level. That's what they choose to do. It's easier for people, because they live out of ego. So, but in general, you're gonna get into the ring and you're gonna get into a lot of bouts, and you're gonna mess up. You're gonna mess up a lot. And the thing is, the important thing is, even it's the more important thing is understanding how to get back up and keep on getting into the ring and swinging and bobbing and weaving and whatever. That's the most important thing, because if you do that and don't give up, you're going to get it eventually. You're going to master whatever the spiritual gifts that you're going to master them in time. Sometimes you have the wisdom of doing something and you don't trust yourself. That's where it's like, where you have to build that muscle of like understanding, okay, I knew what was going to happen, but I was doubting myself. So next time I'm going to try to do my best to trust myself, or you know what I mean? Where you see, again, you have to build up that muscle of that spiritual gift. You got to work it out, and you're not going to do it right, the first time around. Because some people, they'll do it and they're like, well, I tried to be nice and these people, da, 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 da. And you got to understand that that's the thing. People going to be people. That's the thing you really truly got to understand. This is what I'm saying, where you got to build it up. People gonna be people, and so one of the best things that you could potentially do, and may take time, because this may take time and understand the wisdom. You got to understand, people gonna move how people gonna move. They're gonna move how they gonna move. So when they're moving how they moving, people are going to be the very opposite of God. So they're going to be very opposite of these spiritual gifts that I'm talking about. People, a lot of times, they're going to be rude. They're going to be nasty. They're going to be this, they're with that. You know what I mean? They're going to be foolish. It's not to be disrespectful, but people are going to be very foolish. You're going to be looking at people like, why would you make that silly decision? That was a silly decision. But people can be very foolish. People who don't fear God, they're very foolish. It just is what it is. It's not to be disrespectful. That is what it is. Not only are they can be very foolish, they entitled, or whatever, just unkind, da da dee 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 da. You're gonna meet some and people already know this. If you listen to this, you probably older and you probably already know what I'm talking about. Even if you're a young person, you probably already know what I'm talking about. People are like nasty, you know what I mean? But the real nasty people are those doggone narcissists. And so if you can't, you got to understand how to handle the smaller level of spiritual attacks and spiritual, and hone in on those gifts, those spiritual gifts, so that you can, like, ultimately take on a doggone narcissist and ultimately, like, gain your freedom or whatever the case may be. But it's, you have to work out those muscles. You have to work out those spiritual muscles, and understanding, like, that you're gonna get beat up, you're gonna get, you're gonna get tossed around, you're gonna da 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 da. At the end of the day, you got to remember to get back up. It's the hardest thing. You got to ask God for some strength, and God would definitely come down and He would give you a good heaping of strength every morning. I'm telling you, He'll give it to you. But it's not to say that you won't be very weary and be like, no, I'm done with this. I'm about to da da da. But the more important thing is to never give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep those spiritual gifts. Keep on honing on those spiritual gifts. And one day, I can guarantee God guarantee you, you're gonna be you're gonna be out here slaying demons, slaying narcissists. They gonna call you the demon slayer, brother. Up in the heavens. Oh man, that's demon slayer 2 of 2022. This dude got plenty of doggone demons under his belt. This is a nice one. They up there watching with popcorn and everything like that up in the heavens. I'm telling you, that's what they gonna think. Like, dang, this person is something different with the spiritual attack, because they killing off everything. Whoa, that's what they're gonna be saying. But hey, with all that being said, I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.